There are over 1 million ways to go really massive wealth in real estate investing, and 5 super popular ways that I'll add on today. My real estate team has done $1.6 billion in transactions over the past few years, and all my most successful clients do the last one of these. My biggest clients have the massive amounts of wealth are doing the last section of the best strategies for 2025 in investing in real estate. Again, there are tons of ways to make money in real estate. The list is not short, but there are a few that are even better than the rest. And today I'm going to break down all the pros and cons of each strategy. And again, unlike most gurus trying to sell you a program or a course, I have nothing to sell you unless it's real estate, of course. And again, there are tons of strategies. And the last one is, to me, my personal favorite. Also, I made it because I've seen it work time and time again. But you can get rich, make $1 million, 8 figures, 9 figures, in some cases even 10 figures, depending on the strategy you use, but some are faster than others. So we're breaking it down into a few different categories. We have 5 main things. We have these here, which I'll break down piece by piece for you. But more importantly, I'm going to break down for you guys the strategy we're using, passive income. I just follow me for long. Passive income does not exist fully. There's still some work to get up there. Maybe it's passive now for you have a big empire, a lot of employees and so forth, or managers helping you build that portfolio. Then it's kind of passive. There's still stuff going on. At one point in time, it was not passive. So keep that in mind. A passive income is one category. People will buy real estate for that more often than not. You have long-term wealth, which to me, the only reason why you should buy real estate is for long-term wealth building. Real estate is more of a hedge versus inflation and a safeguard for your money. If you make 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures a year, if you don't invest that, you lose some in inflation. Or if, like me, have a business, you're going to use it for your business growth instead. But eventually, you're going to get a point where you have long-term wealth. And then control over assets. This is imperative to having true wealth. If you don't control your assets, they can't control you in a way. And then you have scalability. With scalability, every business model you want to see in the world can be scaled, but how easy will it be? So I'm going to break down the easy access behind that. And then lastly, tax benefits, also a huge reason why people invest in real estate. So our first main strategy that you probably see a lot, especially right now on social media, all the gurus are pitching this, because it is the lowest entry point. Anyone can do this. I will add the caveat that 90% of wholesalers do so illegally because they're posting pictures of houses and they're selling them as if they're agents, which is not allowed. You have to sell a contract, not the actual asset itself. So for those who are new to wholesaling is when you want to buy a property normally way below market value from homeowners. And the whole goal is to say, hey, I'm going to make $10,000 on transactions. For easy math, let's say the house is worth $1 million. And you can buy it from the sellers for $800,000. We're thinking right now, that's way more than 10K. In theory, yes. But what you do instead, though, is say, great, I have this house for $800,000 under contract. I'm going to sell it to the flipper, which is our next category coming up pretty soon, for $810,000. And by doing this allows you to make the spread. What they do, they have a double close on transactions, so the actual investor is buying the home for $810,000. The wholesaler makes $10K, or his margin could be $10K, $50K, $100K, doesn't matter. You can do wholesaling with commercial real estate, with land, single family, doesn't matter. And then when that happens, they make the spread. But what I don't like about wholesaling is that it really takes advantage of the homeowners. As a real estate agent, one of the top agents in the whole country, again with $1.6 billion in transactions, my main goal to help my clients make more money when selling their houses. Because flipper will use a 70% more. So then theoretically, this math, they would buy it at 800K, rehab it a little bit, and sell for 1.2. So the flipper makes way more money than the wholesaler does. More than assume though. So make sure you stay for the next part to see what the difference is there. But for passive income, there is none. If you're doing wholesaling, you're not going to be doing passive income. There is no passive. It's all active income strategies, but you only need to have a few $100s to do this strategy. You can really start this strategy for yourself super easily. Again, it works. I know people making 8 figures a year from wholesaling. Yes, big business. You can definitely do it, but more often than not, people do so illegally. Long-term wealth, does it have that? No, because I don't own the asset. I'm just trading this asset to somebody else to buy it instead. So I have no passive income, I have no long-term wealth. And then for control of the assets, I have that no either. I don't control the asset. I control the asset for 30 days until we close. But even then, I don't have full control. I have the contract, and I don't own it yet. Is it scalable? I will actually say yes and no. So it is scalable. I'm going to give an X and a blue because you can scale this. Because you have a team of acquisition managers and cold callers, they can call for you and so forth, but you're scaling something in a different way. You're scaling the business model and not actually the asset itself. And then lastly, tax benefits. There are no major tax benefits because you don't control the asset and you only own the asset for an hour or so. So you're doing a double close. Again, this strategy works. It's not illegal to do wholesaling itself, and a lot of people do so. Again, if you do wholesaling, down below, send me a DM. Happy to see what you have for my clients who are investors who will buy these properties as well. Our next one. This strategy is really popular and has been done so for a long time, and I think it is a powerful strategy for active income. And I'll also add builders / developers. Because flippers, builders, developers, all kind of same category. We want to do the same exact thing. Now, for passive income, you won't see passive income when it comes to flipping. And for those who are new to flipping, building, development, as it sounds, I'm going to buy a house or asset below market value, normally a 70% ARV, this is asset repair value, the whole goal of this, from a flipper, from an agent like myself, from homeowners directly, you name it, they buy the asset way below market value, protect themselves, and put in 50, 100, 200 million dollars sometimes into the house to then sell for a higher value. Is this doing value adds? And then again, you can do flipping not just for single family homes, but for land, for commercial, for apartment complexes, you name it. In the commercial space, my clients will buy a RV park or mobile home, or they'll buy apartment complexes, and they'll do so with the goal in mind for the exit strategy to add new washer units, to add better management, to upgrade the units. And by doing that, they can have a huge value add quickly to then sell it. So long-term wealth when it comes to flipping, building, and so forth, more than not, you won't see this. Now, builders and developers, they sometimes can, at least developers. Most builders, their goal is to sell it afterwards. Flippers is definitely to sell it. If they don't sell it, they owe their investors and so forth money, which they don't want to do. This is an active income game. Now, for flipping, your minimum profit margins should be 20K. Minimum should be the goal you have in mind. But more often than not, it should be $50 to $100 to $200,000 looking for in that returns. Now, if this seems overwhelming to you guys, don't worry. I have a whole training down below that breaks down flipping and wholesaling, flipping especially, A to Z. I will add it on my YouTube channel. You can watch it there, but we're finally at that point to watch how to do flipping. My clients have done so many times. One of my clients just did a flip recently that we sold them the house from our sellers who was trying to sell quickly, so they did not mind having a massive value add for themselves. And she made probably $75,000 on that flip. So great returns, massive, active income. Now, control over assets. You do have control over the assets. So I own that asset until it is sold. Now, flipping as well, I would add, you can flip homes without selling them. You can do a cash out refinance. You can flip it, cash out refinance, and do that strategy. But again, most people don't do for flipping because it's for quick returns. Because a hard money lender won't give you money or capital if you want to keep it. More often than not, some will if you have a high return for them. But the end goal is to sell it within 90 to 150 days is kind of the turnaround rate. If you're super good, maybe 60 to 120 days. Have it rehab, on market, sold, and so forth. And that's going to be control of the assets for that time period. Is it scalable? Yes and no. You can scale the business model, but can you actually scale flipping itself? Not really, because I'm only on an asset for a couple months, then it's gone again. So there is no massive control of going there. And then Jamie asked me, can you give me an example of passive income that relates to real estate? Yeah, great question. So you can have passive income. I actually want to break down passive income super heavy on the last category. Make sure you stay in that one, kind of see how that looks. But in theory, what you would do is you would buy an asset with the goal to keep it for as long as you possibly can. And by doing that, you then allow to have passive income every single month come into you. Caveat though, you're probably only going to make $100 per door when you do that. So keep that in mind. Like when buying real estate, it's not for passive income. That's the cherry on top. Because most people who have enough capital to buy real estate, $100 a door, if you have 10 doors, it's $1,000 a month that you're making in cash flow. So it takes a long time. You need 30, 40, 50, 100 different doors, or do Airbnb, short-term rentals for higher returns that way. And then your cash flow is probably $500 to $1,000 per door. And you can do something even quicker. One of my friends, he's on track to be a billionaire in the next couple of years. He buys properties for long-term holds, passive income, but he does so in places with low appreciation rates, but high cash flow. So he has a home that will cash flow him $3-4K per door, which is insane. So you can do so, but all depends on your goal. For that strategy he does, his long-term wealth is not super high because his place, he said, had not appreciated in 10 years. So you can't have both more often than not. You can, but it's going to be really hard. So you got to pick and choose what you want more. And then the last one, if you have a really good CPA, like I do, like Rick is amazing. Saw my last live probably a month ago, a couple weeks ago. He's amazing. He'll save us multiple six figures this year. Again, saving capital for taxes is one of the most important reasons why you do buy assets in real estate. But Donald Trump, hate him 11, he spent $800 on taxes a few years ago. $800. He's worth $1 billion because he uses real estate taxes to help him do that. And he's a billionaire because of his businesses, but also because of long-term wealth creation through real estate. So I actually would give tax benefits both. You have a check and an X, depending on how you use it. If you use it correctly, you can get tax benefits. Not a lot, but you're buying property. You can find ways to kind of mitigate your taxes. Or you can do a 1031 exchange, which is when you have an asset that you bought and you forego any of your capital gains. You pull that house into a like home like that one in a different market, or the same market even too. And then you can avoid capital gains that way. So they're all strategies where you can get big tax cuts if you structure it correctly. So both for flipping. Again, flipping has total assets. It also has tax benefits. Now, all of these strategies, more often than not, minus one of them, will have pretty good active income. So wholesaling, great active income. Flipping, great active income. Our next strategy, which is called syndications, is not really going to be big on, having the strategy of massive active income, but it does have a lot of benefits, and it's easier to get into than you think because normally you have partners working with you to do this. Now, syndicating, for those who are new to this concept, is I can syndicate this pin or this marker I want to, or my whiteboard. I would say, hey, so-and-so, thanks for being here. I want you to invest with me on buying this asset. It could be a pin, it could be a house, it could be a commercial property, you name it. And normally one of them will have time or money. Or sometimes all of them have money. You put it all together to one fund and you divvy up the returns based on who did the most when it comes to capital given out. When this happens, I can now buy a unit that would normally be impossible for people if it costs us $10 million. But if each of us have $1 million to put down, or 20% of $1 million, so $10 million, so $2 million, we have 100K each out of 20 people, I can now buy syndicated property and make cash flow off of, and have an exit strategy. So for syndications, the main goal is having an exit strategy and not long-term holds. I'm going to buy it for some cash flow up front to make some extra strategy in the long time. And then on the back end, the goal is to then sell it after I improve the property, and then move from that strategy. Wholesaling, in the syndication, this allows you to have more opportunity to kind of do bigger plays. Now, when it comes to passive income, again, you will have passive income when you do syndications. I'm buying this property for 3 to 10 years. Normally 3 to 5 is kind of the rule of thumb that I'm doing that. A great book, actually, about syndications. Normally I don't do book recommendations on these lives, but let's see if I can find it. So I can't find my books. I have too many books. The book is called Syndication is a B. You can guess the last word. Syndication is a B, the last word of that, and you can try and find it online. But I'm personally friends with the guy who made that book, and syndication is really, really hard to do. But again, it does have massive returns for you, long-term and short-term. That's why it's so good. I can buy property, get passive income up front, and then long-term wealth, you can. It's not super long-term, but it's going to be 3 to 5 years, times 10. In some cases, you could hold an asset for long as you possibly can. So you can do syndications and just hold on to it for a long, long time, do a refinance afterwards, and then pay back the investors, and have a few core main ones, like your general manager and minor manager on this asset to do that way. Now, control of assets, I actually give it both. You have some control over the asset, but not full control, because your investors also involved in the strategy. So it's really going to be based on what you and your friends or investors think. So you have both control of assets. You control it for 3 to 5 years. You have board members, investors, and so forth, and partners involved in this transaction. It kind of makes you, not have complete control. Man, that's so good. Thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to make sure you drop some likes down below, show some love, tag your friends, share this video. Who do you know that will love this breakdown of the best real estate investment strategy for 2025? Again, my real estate team has done over $1.6 billion in transactions over the past few years. And this is going to be our biggest breakdown of how to do this. The 2025 breakdown strategies. And then the last two on this one, is it scalable? It is a great question. Yes and no, you can scale it, but it's going to be a business model. You can buy more of those. You can transfer your funds into other assets as well. So again, I'll do both. It's scalable to a degree, but it's carrying more often the business model. And then the last strategy, tax benefits. Yes, there are huge tax benefits and how the tax comes to syndication. And then our next one, breaks down. Also, guys, make sure you have any questions down below. Ask my questions. I'm more than happy to answer your questions for you. This is a live video, obviously. I have a masterclass breaking down all the best ways to do real estate investing here in 2025 and beyond. And thank you for finding our book. Yeah, down below is Bruce Peterson. It is a powerful, powerful book. I've read it before. It's great. In syndication, you can make, 7-8 figures a year in passive income through syndications. So syndication is really, really good. I like this a lot. It's harder to do, and you normally need some capital or have skills to do so. Then the last strategy, or last one for main strategies, make sure you stay to the end, because my best strategy I've learned over the past few years, being a top real estate agent, is our last one. But the next strategy is also really popular. It's called Sub 2. Sub 2, Pace Morby, he designed it. It is not a new strategy per se, because Sub 2s have always been the thing. He just popularized the name of it. The Sub 2 is a Sub 2 contract. I'm subcontracted on a house. The way Sub 2s work is I'm agreeing with the homeowner to take control of their house, but they own the mortgage. Write that down. Super important. I am controlling the house, but they own the mortgage still. So if you default as a Sub 2 person, the seller's on the line still for that loan. And in some cases, they can't buy another house if they're not qualified because that loan is still active. So why Sub 2s for me, I'm a little iffy about, because it's not that beneficial to the sellers unless they really need to do it. So I don't ever pitch Sub 2s for the most part to my seller clients, because it's better to just do a wholesale deal or flip it instead and guarantee it to be done with, and you have no risk. Now, I will say, if you're really savvy at Sub 2 and you do a really good job and have a little business behind that and you sell to such a person, it could be good if they're trustworthy. But again, it's a really gray area, because Sub 2s, the reason why you want to do Sub 2s is because you have a home in the marketplace that has a 2, 3, 4, maybe 5% mortgage rate. And if I can do a Sub 2 and the mortgage is normally $2,000, but the rent in that area is $3,000, $4,000, I have a bigger cash flow in there, and the banks don't need to be involved. Caveat though, with that, I'm going to get a lot more detail about Sub 2s and the rest of them, because it is really, really hard to pull off correctly. Because if the banks find out there is a clause called due on sale, so write that down. A due on sales clause is a clause in real estate transactions with the banks. And if they find out that they did a Sub 2 with somebody else, they can require you to pay off the house, the homeowner. So it's really, really risky. Now, if you want to learn more about Sub 2s, again, I am a lover of all gurus and people out there to a degree. Most gurus I actually don't like. Retract that. But I will say, I think all people are great. This book called Wealth Without Cash by Pace Morby, who is the popular man of Sub 2s. If you want to kind of read from your own perspective. Again, I'm a real estate agent. My goal is fiduciary, to teach you guys the best strategies with no filter, and to be raw and honest. But at the same time, do your own homework. Because I think, one strategy better than another strategy, but there are people out there who are making great income when it comes to Sub 2. So I won't totally knock it. But at the same time, I'm going to see why I'm so iffy about it. Now, it comes down to all charts, though. For Sub 2s, passive income, that is what you do get. You do get passive income. Because if I own a property that is mortgaged at $2,000 a month, but I make $3-4K per month on my rents, because the tax rate is so low, the interest rate is so low for the mortgages, I can cash flow more money. And of course, some of that funds you're making should go towards, if anything breaks, should go towards your liability, should go towards a cushion if something happens. Because people will have toilets, termites, and tenants. Those are the 3 T's of real estate investing for long term that happens. So normally, even with this strategy, you might cash flow $500 per door. The next one is long-term wealth. No, you have no long-term wealth when it comes down to Sub 2s, because you don't control the asset. The homeowner still owns the mortgage. So refinancing, you really can't do, because I also don't control the asset. I am owning the asset in a way by proxy from Sub 2 and paying down the mortgage for them that they own still, but I can control the asset itself, that's the house. So no. Oops. So no. So both of these are X's down there for controlling the asset itself. I don't control these assets, and there's no long-term wealth. So I need to get permission from the sellers to refinance. And if I did the refinance, the due on clause sale could happen at that time when the bank's now to do so. And again, the biggest benefit for real estate is two things. It's long-term wealth and tax benefits. Those are why you buy real estate. And for sub-twos, I have no control of the assets, and my long-term wealth is not there. I'm just banking on cash flow. It's all I'm banking on. So you can probably imagine I'm not a huge fan of sub-twos because it's a little gray and I think it takes advantage of people. But it does work. If you are a sub-two person, by all means, more power to you to do so super ethically. And then scalability. Can you scale it? Yes and no. You can scale the business model of sub-twos, have a whole team working with you, get more assets, control more property. Obviously, Pace Morby has a huge business, but his business is two parts. One part of his business is coaching other people like you or those watching about how to do sub-twos for course and programs, because he knows that's his active income. He makes money from that, and his passive income is from this. And a business model has long-term wealth. I can sell that business later on. So just think critically, I guess, whenever you're looking at gurus out there. Again, I'm a real estate agent. My team's done $1.6 billion in transactions over the past few years. And my whole goal is to help you guys so much that I'm now your go-to agent moving forward for buying or selling, helping all 50 states in 24 different countries. And then let's see. Jamie asks, what other options would the seller have other than sub-2? That's not a great option. Yep, great question. Yep. Great question. So other options we have for sellers would be a sell to wholesale. Sell it as a regular transaction on the marketplace. That is another thing you can do as well. You also can do seller financing. Seller financing, I have a lender here in Austin, Texas, who can service most, I think, 40 states, he says, and he can do a seller finance transactions as if it's a regular transaction. So it's done through the city still, has title companies involved, it's super legit and above board. This allows people to then make, passive income in this regards for the sub-2, but also the seller is protected and off the hook. So you can do that. You also have assumable loans. Assumable loans allows you to say, hey, I have this loan, I'm going to close like a regular, but I'm going to give it to you, the buyer, to assume the remaining loan at the current interest rate. So the rate is 3%. They control that rate in that home now. They bought it from you, but there are two loans on this transaction. You have the loan of assumable loan. They said the home is worth $1 million. You have $800K left on that. You would then finance like $200,000 on top of that. So how that works. And it's also good for passive income. So passive income, for doing sub-2, for doing assumable loans or seller financing. Or just selling it like you would normally. So you have three ways you can open. So you have three ways to do that kind of strategy outside of just doing sub-2s. And just so you know, when it comes down to seller financing or assumable loans, there's more strategy you can add into this thing. Is you do have passive income with seller financing. You have control of the assets. You have long-term wealth. I'm going to break down that more in the next section because the last one, to me, is the best because it has more control for you in long-term wealth. And this is actually that's now. You're welcome. Happy to help that question out. Again, guys, down below, if you have any questions, let us know. Again, we can help you in all 50 states and 27 different countries. Now, it was 24, now 27 different countries around the world with buying or selling real estate. And so far, my two biggest case studies of last year are success stories. One of my clients saved over $362,000 from buying a house with us. You actually heard that right. Over six figures, $300,000 on buying a house with us. As an agent, I use comps and data and so forth for negotiations, getting the best deal. And then my sellers made over $150,000 above asking price with those agents as well. And my fastest home sold last year was 4 hours. So far this year, every home I've had has sold within 5 days or less. Let that sink in. This is a bad market. It's a buyer's market. I'm still selling homes every single weekend for my clients. So I understand marketing, psychology, business, and so forth. Again, this Elite Edge podcast will bring the best of the best, helping you guys have the massive amounts of wealth for you and your families. And yes, $200 saved for our clients. We are super passionate about doing this. Again, as agents, my goal is to help you the best I possibly can with the best results. And then let's break down the last two sections of this. It is scalable. Again, like I said before, yes and no. You can scale the business model, not so much scaling the actual system itself. Look at that X. Then tax benefits. Yes, you can get tax benefits when you control the property itself and not only own it, but you have a good CPA, you can do it. So it really depends on your CPA you have in that place. So I'll actually add both. You have yes and no when it comes to this. So far for the last one, which is again the best strategy to make money in real estate in 2025 and beyond, honestly. It's been this way for millennials. You have wholesaling. Again, wholesaling is active income. You have no passive income. You have no long-term wealth. You have no asset control, no scalability without the business model, no tax benefits. For flipping, you have no passive income. There's no long-term wealth. You do control the assets, but it's only for 60 to 150 days. You have no scalability. That's not the business model itself. Then tax benefits. You have both. You have a good CPA. You can get tax benefits from this. Then you have syndications. That is passive income for sure. Making lots of passive income. Long-term wealth, yes, you can have that for 3, 5, 10 years, depending on your structure, and do it that way. Grant Cardone, he does syndications. He's the manager, general manager of over $1 billion in real estate, that he gets his audience to put into his capital, into his fund, to buy these, and he has long-term wealth, because one day when it's paid off, he will keep them and then pay off the investors. That's his business model. And then you have people for control of assets. Yes, no. Depends on if your investors are okay with you doing something. And now you can kind of write off and say, hey, I have full control. Now what happens? You can do that, but often not really hard to do. And then scalability. You can scale the business model, but it's really hard to scale the system itself because you're buying one asset at a time and so forth. And tax benefits. Yes, you do. And when you sell it in 3, 5, 10 years, you still do a 10-31 exchange, buy another one. So tons of benefits there. I would say out of all these strategies so far, my favorite way to do anything out of these so far would be syndications, because it's really similar to the last one, just on a different magnitude. My least favorite way, besides wholesaling, would be sub 2. I'm not a huge fan of sub 2, you can probably imagine, because it's really risky for the sellers themselves. But you do have passive income by doing wholesaling, by doing sub 2s. You have no long-term wealth. You have no control of assets. There's no scalability. It's not in the business model itself. But you do have tax benefits and how you structure it. Now, the last way, which is what we have coined and created, called Appreciation Arbitrage. Appreciation Arbitrage we have coined recently, and it is the best way to make money in real estate because it has every single facet. Now, Appreciation Arbitrage, what it really is the core base model is this long-term buying assets. I'm buying a portfolio, a house, commercial property, land, doesn't matter. I'm buying an asset with the goal to never sell it. To make true massive wealth in real estate is by buying and hold. Well, my friends and my mentors told me one time that buying real estate is not meant to be sold. Now, there are cases where you need to sell. Your home is not big enough anymore. You're growing family like I do. My son one day will be big. I mean, a bigger house. Or let's say your relative passed away. Hopefully it's not the case. But if it did, you probably don't want to own the house yourself, so you sell it. Or maybe to move to a new place. And your goal is not to own real estate, which I think you should, but I digress. But if that is the case, you gotta sell because you gotta move to a new place. And maybe it's too hard to hold it. Your mortgage rates is so high, you can't cash flow. So there are times where you should sell, without a doubt. But if you control an asset, like real estate, for long enough, you will outperform every single asset class out there by light years, because Warren Buffett says the best. The 8th wonder of the world is compound growth. and compound growth happens in real estate. On average, you'll see a 7 to 15% appreciation rate year by year on real estate in most markets, the good ones at least. And every 7 to 15 years, the home should double in value. That means I bought an asset 10 years ago worth $1 million. Today, it's worth $2 million. So I'm having that massive returns there. So appreciation arbitrage is this way of saying I'm buying an asset, I'm gonna hold it for as long as I can for long-term growth. Now you can do this asset class through seller financing, through assumable loans. You can do this strategy through just buying it regularly at a regular transaction with a mortgage loan. You can do this strategy for short-term rentals, long-term rentals. Up to you. That's why this strategy is so powerful, because so many options and avenues you can take this based on what you want to do. So passive income, yes. You do have passive income with this strategy. However, caveat, the goal of this is not passive income. My goal of this is to really have an opportunity to make massive wealth long term. In real estate, if I have an asset that makes me $100 per door or $1,000 per door, it probably won't change your life, depending on where you're at currently. It is a good start. You can do appreciation arbitrage with house hacking. I bought my first house when I was 19 or 20 in Kansas. It was like $30,000, $200 a month. And I got tenants or roommates with tenants, and I house hacked before I knew what it even was. And by doing that, I charged each person on this 3-bedroom house $400 each, so $500 each. So I was making cash flow per month, and my mortgage was now free. I lived for free. So you can do that kind of strategies if you have a good system there. So how do I do this now? So this is going to be broken down for passive income. You can get passive income, but it won't, be super crazy depending on how you structure it. But long-term wealth, yes. I'll give it 2 check marks. You have long-term wealth to the 9th degree. Homes appreciate more than not every 7 to 15 years. Or every year, but in 7 to 15 years, you get a double home value. In most markets, here in Austin, Texas, if I buy an asset, I'm going to have huge returns. In 2021, our highest we saw for appreciation was 36% in 1 year. It's crazy. Also, won't happen again probably for a long time, but it happened. The long-term wealth is massive. Control of assets. Yes, I control this asset. It's in your name. You bought this. I will sell financing, consumer loans, FHA, traditional loans, you name it. You bought this asset in your name. Scalable, yes. And the reason why I say this is scalable, because I can now leverage the banks and my equity in this property. Let that sink in. I can leverage the house itself, not a business model, the house itself to buy more assets. Again, down below, guys, I have a whole breakdown of appreciation arbitrage, and even better, down below, send me a DM called Appreciation Arbitrage, or arbitrage hashtag. You want to do that instead, down below, and I'll give you a link to our exclusive newsletter we have coming up for you soon. And I'm even making a complete breakdown of this, and I expect the project you're going to love a lot. It's going to change the wheels of real estate forever moving forward. Make sure down below, hashtag Appreciation Arbitrage, or send me a DM to get a link to get access to our newsletter. And one day, a bigger project as well coming soon. And change the wheels of real estate moving forward forever. And then tax benefits. Yes, you have massive tax benefits. I can do forced depreciation to save taxes on year 1. I can do taxes by owning the property and so forth, and do all the different mitigations through these strategies. You can see here, of all these strategies, the only one that has every single check mark is appreciation arbitrage. This is long-term wealth, long-term holding. I'm buying this property with the buy in the mind to help this house as long as I possibly can, and have my tenants pay for it for you. So again, you're not paying for it yourself. You have tenants that pay for this for you. That's 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years. And eventually, if you want to, you can pass on to your kids to an S Corp so you can avoid on taxes in that regards too. Again, real estate is by far the best of the best. but Appreciation Arbitrage is the best of the best. Down below, the hashtag arbitrage. We got a full breakdown of this in more detail for you guys, a newsletter, and a special project as well coming soon. And also comment down below, what is your favorite strategy? All these things too, what have you done, tried, or you like the most? I'm obviously savvy to Appreciation Arbitrage, and it's best for the homeowners and home buyers out there for long-term wealth, and you can't really fail doing this. I know flippers that try to flip homes and they lose money on the flips. It happens a lot. I know people who do wholesaling who lose a lot of money and time at least trying to wholesale. Syndicators. I know people who have raised money, and if they do correctly, will be okay. It's really hard to get into. They have no trust yet. You need capital. It's hard entry barrier. Sub twos. More often than not, it's worse for the homeowner than actually the buyer itself. But you also can, default, I guess, and like. I was saying for risk for you guys watching this, sub twos have to get low. So the wholesaling, these are probably the lowest ones you can have. And then Appreciation Arbitrage, they're all risks. You can buy a property, tenant can destroy the house. That is the risk that can happen. You can have long-term wealth, could be no appreciation rate for 10 years, which is why it's so important to choose the right locations. So again, in real estate, I'm not saying you get rich overnight. That won't be the case. It takes 5, 10, 20 years to get rich in real estate. But when you do get rich, you get super wealthy. Talking 7, 8, 9, 10 figures of kinds of wealth. Because they're not making any more land. There's no more land being made for the most part. This allows you to have full control of your futures and your wealth moving forward. But again, these are the best strategies, guys. Again, please watch the Elite Edge podcast and address all things real estate, marketing, psychology, business, every single week. Help you guys have the edge you need to be world class at what you do. Thanks for watching. Have the best day yet.